And I'm not sure if this is in your area or not, but it's in the news a lot lately. And when we talk about infants and young children, vaccines come up, and one of the arguments against is because of the unknowns that are in there in terms of toxicity that go into a younger immune system. What's your thought on there, especially with the schedule that the kids get these days?
Of course, I'm trained as a pediatrician, and I'm a strong believer in vaccination. I'm old enough to have seen measles, to have seen polio, to have seen smallpox, and I know that those are deadly diseases, absolutely deadly, as is whooping cough, as is diphtheria, and vaccines protect children against those diseases. The question of vaccines and autism is a question that's come up. The pediatric and the public health communities have taken the question very seriously. There have been 13 big studies now done in the United States, in Britain, in Europe, in Japan, to examine the possibility of a connection between vaccines and autism. None of them have found any evidence whatsoever. I think one of the most compelling of the studies that have looked at this question comes out of Japan, from Yokohama. In Yokohama, the public health authorities suspended the MMR vaccination program for 2 years because of the fear of autism. During that 24-month period, rates of autism continued to rise in children, and at the end of the 2 years, they reinstated the vaccine campaign. So my advice to parents is, don't listen to the stuff you see on the internet about not vaccinating your children or delaying vaccines or coming up with an alternative schedule. Go with the schedule that has been proposed by the CDC and by the American Academy of Pediatrics. Some very smart, knowledgeable people who've devoted their lives to protecting children's health are the people that develop those schedules, and it's the best we've got.
Since you deal with kids, obviously, an awful lot, let's take vaccines out of the equation then. And you mentioned even in that study, autism continued to rise without the vaccines. Do we have a firm grasp on why that continues to rise so dramatically?
Well, the rise of autism is a very troubling thing, and it's clearly much too rapid to be genetic. I think better recognition and better awareness is part of the story, but only part of the story. I think there's a real increase. And when you leave out diagnosis and you leave out genetics, it's got to be something in the environment that's driving the increase. A lot of smart researchers around the country are looking very hard for causes, and they're beginning to find clues. People in California have found that if a woman lives near a freeway during pregnancy, there's a 2 to 3-fold increased risk that her baby will have autism, suggesting that something in air pollution. Lead seems to be linked to autism. There have been some clues that phthalates, the chemicals that are found in certain plastics, especially prenatal exposure to phthalates, increases risk for autism. I think in the next few years, research teams are going to link autism to more chemicals, and then we're going to be able to develop some good, solid prevention strategies.